This podcast is so close to my heart, and what I share, I'm really passionate about. And I feel like so many people need to hear what I'm sharing. And I'm really grateful for your support, whether you've been listening since the very beginning of the podcast back in February last year when it was called How to Change Your Life, or whether this is your first episode. Welcome and thank you for choosing me. If you've listened to more than one episode and you've loved it and you're listening on Apple Podcasts right now, would you do me a favor and scroll down to where it says reviews and add one in? Before you hit submit, screenshot it and send it to me over on Instagram at I am Jenna Holloway. And when I get that review, I will enter you into a giveaway. And if you want to have more than one entry into this giveaway, then also share the episode that you're listening to your stories and tag me. This competition is going to be running for 3 weeks, so you have up to 4 chances to be entered into this giveaway. And one lucky winner will win a 90-minute alignment coaching and hypnotherapy session with me. Business owner or not, it doesn't matter. Alignment coaching works for any area of your life. And I will also be giving away 2 30-minute coaching sessions as well. So get reviewing, get sharing. Thank you so much. And let's get into the episode for today. Welcome to season 2 of the Bigger Than You podcast, your go-to weekly podcast that blends energetics and mindset to help you do whatever it takes to bring your vision to life whilst having fun on the way. I'm Jenna Holloway, your host and multi-award-winning intuitive hypnotherapist and mindset coach. My purpose is to help mission-led business owners and visionaries who want to inspire change by leading the way in a space that otherwise may feel unnerving and too difficult. This is Bigger Than You. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me again. And I know I say this every week, but I am so excited to be joined this week by Jenny from Starseed Academy. This episode will be a little bit different because I wanted Jenny on the show as a guest in her own right. She's incredible at the work she does, and I am really excited to share her work with you and the questions that I know I'm going to ask her on behalf of the listeners to share the work that she does. But also Jenny is a one-to-one client of mine as well. So halfway through the episode, we will shift gears and switch into, okay, Jenny, you're my client. Let me ask you about the work and the things that we're doing together and how that's helping you in your business. So a bit of a duo a duo type episode. But welcome, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Jenna. I'm so happy to be here.
Jenny is a Starseed Mentor, and so that means that she helps people with their spiritual awakening. Jenny, do you want to go into a little bit more detail about what that looks like in your business?
Well, maybe I'd be introducing the concept of starseeds for the first time to your listeners. So if anybody out there is like, what the heck is a starseed? A starseed is somebody that has had a spiritual awakening in a sense that they remember that they have had lifetimes beyond this one life that they're in, and that those lives have even extended past Earth. So you hear of lots of people that remember past lives. You can have a past life regression. But when you start to remember that lifetimes that you've had off Earth, it can be a kind of isolating experience. And so we've kind of come together and coined ourselves, our community, the Starseeds, like remembering having these lifetimes off of Earth. But I'll be honest with you, in all of the, hundreds of clients that I've had and sessions that I've had, I haven't met someone that wasn't a starseed. So honestly, I believe everyone is a starseed. I believe that we are these eternal souls and we have these incredible lives all around this universe, not just Earth. It's not the only place. But really what makes somebody feel like a starseed and resonate with that term is that they are having that awakening to that idea that they exist beyond Earth and they exist beyond this one life as this beautiful eternal soul that just continues to incarnate in lifetimes to learn lessons. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. And in total layman's terms, what do you do?
Okay, so I help people really that are going through this, what we would call a spiritual awakening. So they're coming to this new understanding that this life is not all that there is, and they're feeling really like different in their bodies. Like it's a new level of consciousness or a new level of awareness. And so people feel really lost with that. And so I would say what I do is I am a teacher. First and foremost, I started my journey on YouTube as a teacher talking about these concepts, because if you can just get that information out there, then people feel less alone. So when I start using the language that they are feeling. It's like finding somebody that speaks your language. So when I start talking about the experiences that I've had and these other people that are going through a spiritual awakening are like, oh, that happened to me, or, oh, I feel that way too inside. And so that's how I can really help to connect with people. And then if people to choose to work with me further, I am a channeler. So that means I channel information from higher realms. So what I do is I channel people's spirit guides, their spirit team. Everybody has a team of guides, and they're made up of like angels, ancestors, your animal guides, spirit guides, even galactic guides, like we talked about, the off-earth vibe, councils, and your highest self. And so me being able to communicate with spirit in this way and bring that information through allows me to do so many different kinds of work for people: readings, guided healings, activations, business work that we do together, and then also opening people up to their own ability to connect with their guides, because everybody has this ability within them. And it's just really learning how to develop it and use it. So I kind of do a lot of different things, but I would say that I'm a Starseed mentor because my language really speaks to that group of people, and they really feel like a resonance and like they're coming home, when they find me, binging the YouTube channel, and then eventually like wanting to work together one-on-one in maybe a reading or a healing or one of my classes.
Amazing. So good. Can I ask you, how did you get into this work?
Absolutely. So as, anybody listening may really resonate with this, as a starseed, I was a very, very different little kid, like super weird little kid, freaked my mom out a lot. And so that was because I had these gifts that were kind of like poking through that really did not fit in with the life that we were in. Like my family was pretty traditional and pretty religious, and a lot of this stuff was really off the wall. And some of those, for instances, is like my mom finding me like really, really young. I was probably like maybe 6, and she would find me up in the middle of the night. And I would be like sitting in my living room with all the lights out, like middle of the night, everything's dark, and just having conversations with like invisible beings, basically. And it would freak her out so much, obviously. So, and she would always be like, time to go to bed, tell your friend good night. And she'd, usher me back up to bed. But I always saw her like looking back, like, what? Like really freaked her out. But I always kind of had one foot in the spirit world and one foot in the physical world. So that meant like really being open to my psychic gifts, which are known as the clairs. And so these clairs started coming through, like clairvoyance, clairaudience, those kinds of things started coming through at such a young age. I was going through an awakening of my soul, basically, which is what we call a spiritual awakening, and just really just not fitting in anywhere and just feeling so different. So I know that anybody listening that is an awakening soul is really going to resonate with that, where you just feel like you don't fit into your own family. You just feel like you speak a whole other language, and you just don't fit. Even in school, even with friends, I just felt like I hadn't found my community. So that can be such a lonely feeling. But I also had this like really intense urge within me to be of service. And I remember that since I can remember, like, I just knew, and I would tell like, even like grownups when I was like a little kid, I'm here to make a difference. Like, I'm here to change the world. And, they'd be all, oh, that's so cute. But I was like dead serious. Like, no, you don't get it. Like, I know my mission. I'm here to really help people and make this big difference. So I just had this like really deep urge and these burgeoning gifts and this feeling of not fitting in. And really that's where it all started for me, as feeling kind of like an outsider in my own life, which I think is really common for starseeds. So I knew that I was meant to make a difference. So I decided to do that with going out on a limb and starting a YouTube channel and just talking personally about my own experiences. Like, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm going through. This is what's happening in my life. These are the weird experiences and personal stuff as well, because I knew that if we are the niche, in business, a lot of people say you are the niche. Well, that just means everything that you've ever been through is for a reason. And it's so that you can help someone through that too. You have the keys, you have the solutions. So I knew that too at a young age, that I had a really difficult start to life with a really abusive childhood, but I knew all of that was for a reason. And I started talking about that. It was like the most vulnerable thing to do on the internet at the time. Like, I started my business in 2019 when it was just not cute yet to call yourself a starseed. Like, it wasn't trendy yet, as it's kind of getting a little bit more well-known now. So definitely received a lot of pushback, but I just stuck to the feeling that I'm here to help. It's not for everybody, but there are people that it's really here to serve and really here for. So that's where I
Mm.
started, was this YouTube journey. And then from that, I found my community. All of a sudden, I started receiving these messages from people, and they were like, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Can you tell me about my guides? And I started realizing that that was a way that I could be of service, right? Like if I had this really powerful clairaudience and this clairvoyance to connect with my own guides, then maybe, just maybe, I could do that for others. And so I started by saying yes. People would ask me for some, okay, yes, I can. Let me figure it out. And I started doing readings. I started doing healings. And those one-on-one sessions were so powerful and were like such a really good foundation for building a community and a business. And then it led to people asking for more, as they will in business. Okay, well, now that you've made a community, can we have a safe space on the internet where we can all meet? And I created the Starseed Academy membership. And then from that, it was people asking me, can you teach me to do what you do? Like how to connect with my guides? How can I talk to them? What about my psychic gifts? And that led to one of my signature courses, Psychic Light, where I teach people how to develop their gifts and use them. And then, of course, that led to people seeing me doing super, super well in business, really holding my own in the spiritual community, being a respected channeler. And then they started asking, wait a minute, how do I do that? How do I start my own spiritual business? And so that is, the most recent thing that I've started doing is really helping spiritual entrepreneurs to align their business with their gifts. And that is like such a key to having a business that's super authentic and powerful, is to have those soul gifts at the foundation of your very business. So there's lots involved in Starseed Academy, but it all started from like very, very humble roots of just this YouTube journey of this, like just this girl talking to her camera basically about the craziest things and the most personal things. And from that came everything, like a life that I could have only dreamt of.
Yeah, I love that so much. You just, it didn't start with a business idea. It just evolved in its own way. You followed your heart, you followed this calling, and piece by piece by piece, it evolved into what it is now.
Absolutely. What I hear from people all the time is like, you teach such complex things in such a real way, like super grounded, super easy to grasp. And I'm always just myself. And so people just really connected with how authentic and humble I was about things, but that I had all these incredible experiences and could really teach people from that space of, I went through it too. And I'm still, going through it. A spiritual awakening is a journey. It just keeps going. So my community definitely came when I built it, but I was searching it out actively before that and gathering up all the information that I could.
Mm-hmm. I can totally vouch for what you say about teaching it really simply. And, I've been in your program, Channeler of Light, because I just felt cool. We'd already started working together, and I saw you sharing this new program that you were about to launch. And up until this point, like, I've built my business based off intuition, and it's all been very amateur, like I've not had a little bit of training in developing my intuition, but nothing like major at all. And I just trusted myself every moment. And the business has evolved and pivoted, and things have happened the way they've happened because I've trusted myself and followed my intuition. But you'd already started working with me, and I saw that you were doing this, and it just spoke to me. I was like, I have to invest in myself in this way. And obviously I just made sure that it was okay for me to be working in your program alongside you doing one-to-one with me. And you were like, yes, absolutely. So I've been in there, and I know there's still a long way to go, but wow, I just experienced, you just follow your advice. You just do it. Like, it's incredible to channel. And yeah, I feel like I'm very much right at the start of my journey, but it's incredible how much you can unlock so quickly.
Channeling is so sacred, like it's so beautiful. And it's honestly my favorite thing to teach. But there's this, like, again, with everything, there's this world of people out there that are channeling from an egoic place. And so you really have to use your discernment. And so I will only teach it clean and ethical channeling, where you're removing your own egoic stuff, you're protecting the space around any outside influences, and truly channeling from a pure place. And I think that's what makes it so powerful, is that clean and that ethical piece as well.
Yeah. And it really felt safe every time I was doing it as well. So that's really, really cool. I haven't updated you in the latest experience. I'll do that off camera, but it was amazing. Okay. So if somebody's listening and they are spiritual and they either have a business idea or they are trying but feel like they want some mentorship and have never come across this type of business mentorship, can you speak to us? Because this podcast is for entrepreneurs, it's about mindset for entrepreneurs. Can you speak to us about the work that you do for entrepreneurs? What does that look like and how does it help?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a regular business coach or business strategy person that you would hire, they would very much be in their divine masculine. It would be all about strategy and action. And it's missing like half the picture, a huge piece of the picture, which is the divine feminine alignment. And so if you lead with the divine feminine and you lead with those soul nudges, like you were talking about with your own business, how you just have been following your intuition. And you can see in my story how I just continued natural progression towards what I do by saying yes to the people that were aligned. It's like that's one of the biggest differences is teaching people that their soul gifts, they hold their highest self frequency is what I say. So starseeds will probably resonate with this statement if any are listening, or maybe everybody will. If you feel like you came here on a mission, did you come here? Do you have an earth mission? It's bigger than like your soul purpose is much bigger. Your soul purpose is like all about your personal plus, your whole life and all of your soul cycle, which is a whole other conversation. But like your earth mission, just the reason why you're here. How are you here to be of service? And so if you really feel strongly that you have this mission, you have this feeling from within, it's almost like pushing you, like, I'm here to do something. What is it? I know that I have gifts. I know that I'm here for a reason. That's the people that do the best with me. So what we do is we do a soul gifts discovery. What are your gifts? Let's figure out what those are. What did you come here with? What makes you different? Let's develop those gifts together. And then let's build a business based on what those soul gifts are. Because if the soul gifts contain your highest self frequency, then you build the business on that. You become your highest self. Your business reflects your highest self. You call in your soulmate clients. And all of that is just like an escalator to your highest timeline. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that isn't just a fancy word. Your highest timeline is real. It exists. It is where all the good is, all the love and the abundance, the fulfillment, the health, all of the things that you are looking for. There is a highest timeline already in existence. And all you have to do is align to that with your frequency. And then that becomes your new reality. So my basis for Starseeds in business is to revolve everything around their soul gifts. And so if you already have a business started, I get lots of people that already have a business started. They come to work with me and a lot of the times it ends up in a bit of a pivot, like a bit of a rebrand in a way of getting their soul gifts in the foundation of their business, right? So it's okay if you're not starting from scratch, if you're well along your way, if you just feel like things aren't quite aligned and there's more magic within you to bring through, then I love working with entrepreneurs that are kind of just very open to that, curious about that, that feeling of, I know that I have gifts. I get a lot of healers, lots of different healers come to work with me, knowing that there's more. We can go deeper. There's definitely more there. And it is my joy to train them in their gifts and to really just kind of like formulate a business around that. Think about the unique kinds of offerings that if you bring through your soul gifts that nobody else has, your offerings stand out from a crowd. It's so unique. And then you are really, truly calling in that soulmate client.
Mm-hmm. I've not done this work with you, but I kind of intuitively feel, and even I know that I am not really massively aware of everything that you teach. Like, there's so much and I've barely scratched the surface with it, and that's okay. Like, I'm not, I know that there's time and I'll understand, and I'm just like feeling my way along, and that's fine. But when you talked about highest timeline just then, and the way you described it, I was just like, well, I think I'm on my highest timeline. But would you say so too? Like, how do you know if you are?
It's such a good question. So your highest timeline, it's not like a destination where the journey ends. The highest timeline is when you truly feel aligned to, I would say it means activating your gifts, developing them, and then using them in service. That's your highest timeline. If you're using your gifts and how you're different in service to humanity, that's your highest timeline. You're fully aligned to all of that abundance and health and love and happiness. That doesn't mean there's never bumps in the roads, because we're still here to learn. Earth is like an advanced school. It's actually quite hard. We're here to learn really intense lessons. So that will still come through. And your highest timeline, it doesn't end. You just keep growing and growing and growing. So you will continue to grow and it will grow with you. When people are out of alignment with their highest timeline, they are, maybe stuck in a 9 to 5 would be a really good example, feeling drained, feeling resentful, feeling like you can't be your true self at work. Like you're one person at work, you're one person at home. It's not authentic, feeling like you're just, working so hard for someone else's dreams. Meanwhile, you have dreams inside of you. And maybe you've got a notebook full of dreams at home. Like that is your highest timeline. Being brave, being courageous, putting yourself out there and following your dreams and your gifts.
Yeah, so good. And I'd even say that you can be, for example, you can be running your own business, but not being as free as you potentially could be because you're not allowing yourself to follow those nudges and to go there. We'll talk about it in a moment, the work that I do, it's just evolved so much. Everything, the way that I do it, obviously my training and my hypnotherapy and the subconscious reprogramming, that's the skill that I've learned. But everything else has evolved just by me allowing to be open and to just allow it to flow through me and to just allow it to evolve itself. I would never, ever have imagined that my business and my coaching and the work that I do would look like this so early in my business. It just blows my mind, the work that I do and how it's all evolved so quickly. It's not been that long since I trained, and this whole business has evolved in just a magical, beautiful way. Yeah. And it's just flown, I don't know, it's just come out of me in a way that has. And
I totally agree. When you align to that intuition and to those gifts, it's like a fast forward, because my first year, full-time year in business was 2022. And to think of where I'm at too, financially, also just community wise, expansion wise, it's insane what you can do in a year. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's that saying, isn't it? What is it? I don't know. I'm not going to go there because I don't know what the saying is. There's something about overestimating something and then underestimating. Oh yeah, doesn't matter. But it is incredible, how fast things can move when you get out of your own way and when you trust yourself and just allow yourself to be guided by your intuition or those nudges, whatever you want to call it. Okay, Jenny. So in a moment, we're going to pivot and we're going to start to talk about the work that you've been doing with me. But before we go there, where can people find you? If somebody is listening and they're like, oh, I need Jenny in my life, where can they find you? How can they reach out?
Definitely. Oh, I would say come find me over on Instagram. It's at Starseed Academy, all one word. No extra letters or punctuation, because we all know there's so many fake accounts out there. So Starseed Academy. And then I also have a YouTube channel, which has over, I think, almost 400 videos on there at this point, where you can really follow along on the journey of somebody going through a spiritual awakening. There's so much juicy stuff on YouTube. So again, that channel is also Starseed Academy. And if you're looking for a community and you're resonating with this, I would just really suggest my membership group, because we are, such a tight-knit community of these incredible awakening souls. And we do 3 live events together every week, including a group reading. So it's a really exciting place to be. And it's a place of great growth, lots of ascension.
Yeah. I don't know if I've shared this with you, Jenny, but yeah, I was in that reading with you and you channeled through, I can't remember the exact things, but you were saying something like, you're here to do big things and you are here to help business owners get out of their own way, something like that. And you said, this is powerful and I can see a door. And this was before my group program launched, but it was a thing, it was in my mind. It was very much on the horizon. And you just described the name, Powerhouse Portal. I was just like, ah.
I remember during that group reading, you nodding your head a lot. And I was like, oh, good, it's resonating with whatever you're doing. I remember your guides were talking through me about, a group program for people. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was amazing. Okay, Jenny, first question, why did you choose to work with me? What was it that told you needed this work or wanted this work?
What stood out to me? You said something. So you came into a mastermind that I was a part of as a guest speaker. And you said something about that we give ourselves emotional bandwidths and also bandwidths of joy. And so we only allow ourselves to fill this certain container or this bandwidth, and then we can't feel beyond that. And it struck such a chord with me, because if I would start to feel too much joy or too much excitement or too much, emotion in any way, really, I would feel like something inside of me would just shut down. And I
Mm.
had been doing a lot of my own inner work. I mean, I was no stranger to self work, shadow work, we might call it. Lots of shadow work, lots of like guiding myself, so many books I've read, so many courses and different things that I had taken in containers. But there was still this part of me inside that was, I guess, afraid, afraid to feel too much, afraid to hope too big. Just those were the words that really stuck out to me. You said emotional bandwidth and a joy bandwidth. And I was like, I have that and I want to get rid of it immediately, or at
Yeah.
least expand it to contain so much more.
Yeah, you were programmed to experience, like, it's literally an upper limit. People have heard about a financial upper limit, but we have a joy upper limit and a relaxation upper limit. Some people can never switch off, and it's due to the programming that that's what life, they've formed this belief in childhood that that's what it should be like. And so that literally is the way you experience life from here on out until you allow yourself to reprogram your subconscious mind, right? Because your subconscious mind is dictating the experience that you are living, because it's always looking for evidence of what you believe to be true. So if, for example, when it comes to owning a business, if you believe that success will only come from hustling and really like working your ass off and heading towards burnout, then that will be your reality. So yeah. Okay.
I was very trapped in that hustle, so trapped in it. And I think that there are a lot of entrepreneurs, and I would even say a lot of female entrepreneurs, find themselves really stuck in the hustle. And we feel like if we're not hustling and if we're not super productive every day, then everything's just going to fall apart. We're going to lose it all. It's going to disappear. And so you're trying to keep up with this cycle. And I mean, that's where burnout comes in. And that's where resenting, even if it's your dream career, you can start to resent it all. And then
Mhm.
sabotage, right?
Yeah. Why do you feel that is?
Oh gosh, it's such a masculine culture. We're in such a masculine culture. I would say this is toxic masculinity, though, not the
Mm.
divine masculine. And so, what's trying to happen right now is the divine feminine energy of Gaia is really starting to rise. And energetically, you can see that through something called the Schumann resonance. It's Gaia's heartbeat, it's her frequency. It's experiencing like massive spikes and rises all the time. That's the divine feminine. She is our great mother. And that energy, as it rises, we step into that. And that's what you had to offer me, honestly, that divine feminine activation. And that's what I needed so much. I had the strategy figured out. I had the hustle. I had all of that, but I was missing like this other half of the picture. And so that's really what shifted the most for me, was being able to move into the divine feminine. How would you describe divine feminine energy? Because I bet you that you would probably describe it a lot the same way that I would.
Yeah, it's about being able to flow and trust your intuition. And there is inner work that comes with that, because so many people feel the nudges, but they hold themselves back from following it because it just doesn't make sense. It's not logical, but of course it's not logical. Your intuition, you don't need to know the bigger picture. You just get given the next thing. And that next thing is the next step. And so you follow it, and then you get the next step and the next step. And the most magical things happen when you follow your intuition. But it takes quite a lot of work sometimes to unlearn all the things that we've got programmed into us that stop us trusting.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I think I've said to you maybe even more than once that working with you has been like the biggest relief in my life, because I can truly say, after only 2 months together, that I am now living from a place of trust. And that's what was missing. And I didn't even know that's what was missing. I just knew something was missing. But it's like you carry within you this incredible trust, Jenna, the way that you always talk about everything is divinely timed and everything is divinely orchestrated. And I logically thought that way. That was my belief, but I couldn't feel it. Like I
Mm.
still panicked and I still stressed and all that hustle, right? So it was leaving me in a place of just drained, burnt out resentment towards everything that was keeping me so busy, when really it was such a blessing. So now in working with you and the things that we've done together, I've moved into a place of trust. And now I hear myself saying it to other people. Like now it's so deeply ingrained now in me in such a short period of time that I also am now talking about it so much and telling people, trust in your path. You need more trust. It's all working out on it's orchestrated from a higher place. You don't need to understand it always. And when you look back at your life, that's like the proof that it always works out. We can look back at
Mm.
our lives and say, oh, well, that felt hard at the time, but if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today. So yeah, so much trust has been built within me from working with you. Like it's like a new level, huge new
Mm,
level.
amazing. And it's literally, we're only in month 2 of 6, isn't it?
I was so ready. I was so ready for this work.
Yeah. So what does it actually feel like? So you listen to your bespoke hypnosis audio every night as you go to sleep. So that's what's doing the subconscious reprogramming. What does it feel like to know that that's working? Like, how would you describe it when you feel that it's happened, that it's working?
So much gratitude, so much gratitude towards you, but also towards myself for taking this risk of, investing and working with you. And it's funny, entrepreneurs will invest all kinds of time and money in strategy coaches. I mean, I have that, I had that, right? But we do not invest in our emotional nervous system, being at a place of this peace and this trust. And really, it's so funny to me now to think that I put this last. And it should have come first all along, because really, this is where everything else comes from. This is the foundation. I
Mm,
am the business. If I don't feel good inside, however I feel inside is definitely reflected in my business. And so I've seen, like, it's not just personal growth, but it's like a difference in my business. Like now I work from a place of no push, just more of a leaned back feeling, and I'm getting even better results. And it's like still logically makes no sense, because I feel like to get better results, I should have to work harder, but I don't have to work harder. I have to feel good inside. And then I'm doing exactly what we talked about at the beginning of this, aligning to my highest timeline with that feeling. I'm just aligning to the right clients. And it's real. Like, it's just proof that it works. Yes, of course, you
mm,
still need divine masculine action to back things up, but lead with that feminine, lead with that place of trust. So
mhm.
it's just been so monumental to me. And those subconscious, like the hypnosis that you make for me that I listen to every night, I hear it mostly, but you're kind of in between as you're falling asleep. And then I will go and hear myself saying like full sentences from it. Like the next day I'll be like, whoa, that came from Jenna. Like I just heard you say something. It's getting in so deep. The work gets in so deep that now I'm saying, even in my mind, when something goes wrong, it's all working out best case scenario. Like, this is okay. Trust. There's something that needed to wait. So it's okay for this to not be the time yet. Like, just so
Mm.
much supportive self-talk.
Yeah, and you're starting to see miracles of manifestation, stuff literally working out right before your eyes. And it's nothing that you're doing, it's just trusting in the fact that you are always fully supported. And because we are programming that in, so your subconscious mind is looking for that, and that is literally creating your reality. Your external reality will always reflect what's going on inside for you. So you are manifesting now, you are manifesting success with ease, or a joyful, relaxing, peaceful life with so much abundance, which you just didn't have space for before, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like the truest test of that is anybody out there that's going through a launch. When you launch a program, all your demons come to the surface, because I mean, I don't mean that literally, but like all of your like fears and your worries and like all of the self-doubt, all of the ways that we don't believe we're worthy. It's crazy what comes to the surface during a launch. And so I am currently in the middle of a launch, and it's my first launch, I think, since really working with you. And I filled 9 spots out of 10 in less than 2 weeks. And normally it's just so different. Like the way that I've leaned back, the way that I've approached this launch, the results are just outstanding. I've never had such an incredibly successful launch in such a short amount of time.
That is incredible. And even so, we've not taken numbers, like, because our call is it tomorrow or Thursday? I'm not sure. But yeah, I've not heard like the latest from you. But what I do know is that February, you didn't launch anything. And it was so funny. We had a call right at the end of February, beginning of March, and you just said something like, oh, I thought February was really quiet, but that's okay because, I wasn't launching. I just felt relaxed. I was just in my feminine, just enjoying, following my energy, yada, yada, yada. And then you were like, I looked at the numbers and I had a 10K month, and that's great. Like, that's my third 10K month in a row. But the ones before that were full of push and full of hustle. And how would you describe February? What was it like?
Oh, February, I didn't even launch, like you said, and everything was just super, super relaxed and laid back. I wasn't racing around. I wasn't holding myself so strictly to my to-do list. I was really following my energy and allowing myself and my creative spirit to do what it wanted to do most of the time, right? And that's very different for me. I was so strict with my to-do list. Everything had to happen in order, one after the other. And I don't do that to myself anymore. I allow myself that freedom, and the results are so much better. And I feel so much better inside. And I already know we're only March 14th, so halfway through. And I already know this is going to be my biggest month ever.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And sometimes, well, what I know happens because it's that financial upper limit. If we don't do this work, you can reach what looks to be your biggest month ever halfway through the month. But if that is your financial upper limit, you'll stop there and you will literally sabotage every possible opportunity for you to go above and beyond that. Even if you make your financial upper limit in the first few days of the month, nothing will help you get past it. If it's subconsciously programmed that you have an upper limit, for example, of 5 or 10K, whatever it is, nothing will allow you to get through that. Maybe there'll be a blip, but that will not feel safe in your nervous system for you to consistently do that. So it will not happen. No matter how early in the month you do it, you will stop yourself and you will sabotage in order to block. And that might look like procrastination or a massive wave of self-doubt. You start to, get shiny object syndrome, or it might look like illness, or it might look like life drama outside of the business, which takes your focus away, anything, but you guarantee you will stop yourself because it will not feel safe for you to manifest above and beyond what is at your financial upper limit. But obviously you're working with me, so that is not going to be the case. We're midway through March. You can see it's your biggest month ever, and there's nothing stopping you from just going and going and going, because of what I said on your audio, that abundance is your birthright, and like it feels easy, success with ease. I don't even know what I said, but all of it's coming and it's happening. It's amazing to see.
It is so amazing. And to just be in that trusting space to know that it's all working out. There's no more of that like fear frequency or like almost lack mindset, scarcity mindset around like, what if no one signs up? What if this, but what if they don't? And then you're going through the worst case scenarios in your mind and you create it. And there's just been none of that. In fact, everything's felt pretty surprising. I'll check my phone. Oh, another person signed up. And it's just like, oh, how lovely, like it's just not, it's like, I feel like I'm not pushing. It's just happening. It's so different. But I understand what you're saying about like the bandwidths and sabotaging yourself. I could totally see that, because I would push myself so hard, and I would always hit the 10K. And it's like, now I'm ready to break through that. Oh, that just gave me chills to even say, like, I'm ready for that.
It's so exciting. Oh, it's so exciting. And just watching you grow and all the things that you're doing. And like I always say this as well, it's like, I don't work with you for your business. I work with you for you. And there's obviously your business is doing amazingly well, but the stuff that's going on for you personally and how much more you're able to just feel joy and be present is just, it's just so wonderful to see. Like that's what we're here for, to enjoy life, right?
Yeah. And not making, like, I'm the priority now, not my business. That's the biggest shift of life right there. It's like, no, I come first. And so if I feel drained, if I feel tired, if I need something else, I come first, always. The walk comes, if I need a walk, to go for a walk, if I need to do some exercise, whatever I need for my self-care and my inner peace, that is so much more important to me now. And because of that is why all these shifts are happening. And yeah, you talked about personal stuff. Also, like, I just see this work really impacting my personal life, because I think I said to you the other day, I stopped for hugs now. Like before, and probably some entrepreneurs listening will really be able to resonate with feeling so chaotic in your energy that you can't even stop for 2 seconds. I don't have time. And now I stop for hugs when my husband wants to stop me, even if I'm in the middle of clients or calls or something, I can stop for a hug, like, because I'm at peace in myself and I'm in this present moment. I can make a dinner now. I've really started enjoying cooking again, which I never used to do. I just feel like I have more time because I'm being more present and more intentional with that.
Yeah. You're not a slave to time anymore. It's like, so different. How did we do that? Like, how would you describe a session with me? What goes on?
Yeah. Okay. A session with you would be talking about what was good, always, so that we can see the progress. Then I talk about my challenges, what threw me that week, if there was anything that came up that felt like it didn't fit in with the new version of me that I want to be. And then we, work on whatever that was together with. Usually you have some kind of like new modality that I haven't tried or something that we can try. There's always something new happening. And then we end with the really beautiful hypnosis, which is always, like you said, bespoke, which just means like every single, like the words are so intentional in it. It's exactly what I'm working on. It's exactly what I need to feel, whether that's time is my friend and the time stretches to support me. And I have so much time that I can relax and slow down, or whatever it is that's coming up that I'm feeling overwhelmed about. We solve it. And the hypnotherapy just goes so deep. Like it goes way beyond my conscious thinking. And I know that it's like repaving like the roads in my mind. I've been walking down the same roads of trauma and stress, and fight or flight is a big one. I've been walking those roads my entire life. And then we're finally like repaving some new roads in my mind for my thoughts to travel down. And it's such a relief.
Amazing. I just feel so blessed to have allowed this to happen and to just be chosen. Like, I'm so grateful to do this work with you, Jenny. How is it different from what you expected?
I don't think I thought it would happen so fast. I had a lot of confidence because I was getting such a strong soul nudge that you were the right person. And I had actually been following you before you came into Rachel's mastermind. I had already been following you for like probably maybe just even a year, or at least like
Really?
I had been
Oh, I
following.
didn't know that.
Oh, silently stalking. No, I had this feeling, right? And I had this feeling, and then you all of a sudden just showed up right in a moment, probably when I was feeling overwhelmed and really stressful. And it was like that, see, that soul nudge, see, this is for you. This is who you need to work with next. So it really felt like very divinely orchestrated, but I just didn't think it was going to happen so fast. I had the confidence that it was going to work, but I thought months and months from now, I'll feel better and I'm going to have to really dig in and do some hard work. And it just doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like hard work. It really just doesn't. And it just feels pretty much like a miracle right now.
Amazing. Wow. That's just so incredible to hear. Like, we don't spend time talking about the work, we just do the work. So yeah, it's so kind of speechless to hear you say that's amazing.
Fast. Like it's been, like you said, we've been together 2 months. How have I shifted so much? I don't even know. It's crazy.
Yeah. So excited. Like, what's going to happen over the next 6 months? What would you like to call in? What is possible for you now that, because I would have asked you that on our discovery call, like, how would you like to feel? But you've ticked most of your boxes. So asking you now, what's possible? What do you dream of now that you wouldn't have allowed yourself to dream of before?
Yeah. Before I just wanted to feel safe in my body and safe in my mind and have that worthiness be unshakable. And now it feels like that's just, of course, I have that. That's a basic need that's my foundation. But now I just feel like there's so much place to grow from here. And I really just feel like my bandwidth for bliss, not just happiness, like, or joy, like bliss, my bandwidth for bliss is really calling to me to really be able to feel that just the highest frequencies of bliss in my life in every area and full trust, and to really create that unshakable feeling of that full trust. And then to even reach further in my business to know that I can handle it now. Maybe before that would have just been too overwhelming and too stressful to have like an influx of people, right? And now it's like I trust and I feel safe so I can handle more. So
Yeah.
opening the doors to more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Your capacity to hold space for more people at the same time is expanded 100%. I'm excited for that for you. Question for you, probably final question, and possibly not. Like, I'm really intrigued to know what you're going to say, because I remember on our discovery call, you were like, when I'm working, it's amazing. I feel safe. Like, I'm so confident in what I'm doing, my gifts and all of that is just, is not the issue. It's how I feel in my business when I'm actually not doing my work. And so how you fit, like, it wasn't how you were feeling while you were actually channeling, working with your gifts. It's just how you're feeling behind the scenes in your business. So question for you, does it feel any different in the way that you lead sessions with clients, maybe your entrepreneur clients? Like, does it feel any different? Has there been any shifts there in terms of how you show up in your work too?
So in session, I was feeling very confident before. I think it was the out of session, like the in between clients and stuff where I would start to stress out. My issue is really like the building the business and the marketing and all of that. I mean, in clients, all of this would just be adding to my confidence and my peace. But then the outside is where I'm noticing the biggest shift, because I have a CEO day, as every CEO should have. Mondays are my day to work on my business and not have any sessions or clients. And those days would be stressful because it's the beginning of a new week and I have this huge to-do list and oh my God. And yesterday, it was Monday for me. Yesterday was the most beautiful day. My Mondays now are like so relaxed and so dreamy. And I actually look forward to them. I'm like, oh, tomorrow's like my CEO day. And I get to like be creative. And like, you can't be creative if you're stressed out. And now, because I feel so much more peace, I can be so creative. It's like creating content, creating programs, creating new ideas, masterclasses, even just creative emails or creative, that's what a business needs to really thrive, is like that, the person at its heart to be creative and expressing themselves in new ways and following those soul nudges. And when you're stressed out and you're burnt out, there's no space for that. It's just to-do list. And now it's like, ooh, what can I play in? What kind of energies can we try? And knowing that I have time and space to do that and convincing myself that.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so much better, isn't it? Like, I love having clients on the podcast because I just feel like otherwise all people hear is me saying it gets to be free, it gets to be joyful, it gets to be easy, like freedom, joy, and ease, freedom, joy, and ease. But like, it's so good having like you and other clients on the podcast to say that actually, no, it does get to be this way. And it's not just you on your own, Jenna. Like, this is possible for anybody out there listening. If you've got a business and it doesn't feel joyful and it doesn't feel like you're working from a place of ease, and it feels like you have to work so hard to create your success, like, there is another way. And with the work that I do, we will program success with ease, and everything that you want to feel, you can feel. And it's about creating that alignment between the things that you know and the things that you feel, because it doesn't matter if you know something, if you can't feel it, it's not going to help, because your feelings are what creates the action. That what creates your energy. And it's so important. If you're running an online business, your energy and how you connect with your audience is so important. Most of our communication is nonverbal. So even if you try and sort of fake being authentic or fake being a leader, but you don't actually feel it, that will be felt on some level. And it's like, yeah, you can work on your strategy, but if you actually, like you said, put this first, that's the real game changer, because then you can just trust yourself. Like, you don't even necessarily need a business mentor. When you have your intuition dialed in and that much self-trust and that much confidence in your inevitable success, then you can do it. And like, the mentor becomes a nice to have rather than a need, like.
And this should be the priority, but people don't realize because they don't know what it feels like. But this, I realize now, that's why I said I was laughing at the fact that I made it like the last thing I invested in business. Like, what the heck was I thinking? This is the priority, because I am the business, and my business is only ever going to mirror back the energy and the frequency that I'm at. And it's also just to let people know it's never too late. I suffered with anxiety my entire life. And I thought that was just going to be my constant companion. And even if we could just, bring it down a little bit, that would be worth it. But I just feel like I remember saying to you, I can't remember the last time I felt anxiety. It had been days and days, and we've only just started. So I can only imagine that that's going to get even better and even better. So it's never too late, no matter where you feel like you're at. It's never too late to invest in your mental health and your inner environment.
Everything that you've shared has been, I'm sure, really, really powerful for people to hear, and for people to just not feel alone in the work that they're doing. And you're meant to be on this podcast. It's that whole bigger than you thing, is soul's purpose. This is what the podcast is for, people that feel that, and to know that there's a different way, and to also introduce you and your gifts to my listeners is incredible too. Is there any final things you want to say to our listeners? Anything left on your heart that's not been said yet?
I would just say that your highest timeline is real. It's worth pursuing. Your highest self frequency is a place where you are feeling the most joy, the most happiness, the most health, the most balance. Don't give up on that dream. You deserve that. Pursue your highest self and your highest timeline. And I just think that I just think that that's what the new earth is going to be, is this divine feminine, new leaders leading with the passion in their heart, leading with your why, your
Mm.
why for doing things. And I think that people like you, Jenna, and people like me that help people to really tap into their gifts and their mission for being here and to do things in this beautiful, peaceful way are creating those new earth citizens. And it's going to be such a huge shift coming for us as we develop in this new way, in this divine feminine way. So
yeah, definitely. I agree. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. See you all next week. Thank you for listening to the Bigger Than You podcast. If you found it valuable, please forward it to others who you think might benefit from listening, and be sure to subscribe to get the new episodes when they release. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave a rating or a review, as it really helps the show to grow. You can find me on LinkedIn, Jenna Holloway, or on TikTok and Instagram, and my handle is @IamJennaHolloway. And you can find links to whatever we cover in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.